The Orlando Magic were not going to get pushed around twice, not by the same opponent and not in this spot. How the Magic made their way to the NBA Cup knockout rounds and how the Magic made a statement about their identity today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is November 28th. It will be November 29th, 2025. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic said they got punked when they went to Detroit about a month ago now. We agreed. We did that podcast. Why the Magic didn't let that happen again and found their identity in the process. Plus, how the Magic ground their way to a win, a big win to advance the NBA Cup, and where they still miss Paolo. We're going to get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic a part of your day every day. We truly appreciate you being one of our Orlando Magic dailies. That means you're an everydayer. You listen 5 days a week. You listen on weekend episodes like this. Thanks for making us part of your holiday weekend. You listen when we post, whenever we post. We're part of your podcast rotation. We're your first listen of the day. We truly appreciate it. Thank you for being part of our Locked On Magic community. And thank you for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Desmond Bane made it very clear publicly. He said it at halftime when he spoke to Kendra Douglas on the FanDuel Sports Network Florida broadcast. He said it after the game. The last time the Magic were in that building at Little Caesars Arena, they got punked. Now, I'm not a big fan of that kind of language and that kind of like squishiness, but look, we all remember how it felt to be 1-4 after that loss to the Pistons. I remember sitting in this chair, someone who does not, I try not to overreact to things. Maybe I overreact too positively to positive things, but I try not to overreact to things. I try to be the calm in the storm. And I sat here and I asked, who is this team? I remember that deeply because watching the Magic get run off the floor by Detroit in that second half specifically, but really for the final 3 quarters of that game, it was like, this is not the team. They're not doing the basic things that we know are necessary for this team to succeed. And so, for lack of a better way to phrase it, Desmond Bane was 100% right. The Magic got punked when they went to Detroit in late October, October 29th. The Magic got beat up physically. They backed down. When they got pushed, they did not push back. If there's one thing that has defined Jamal Mosley's Orlando Magic teams, it is their fight, it is their grit, it is their physicality. They don't care how much they foul you. Sorry, people who are listening to this looking for the Magic to apologize for the physicality. The Magic are going to foul you. They're going to dare the refs to foul every single player out of the game. That is part of this team's identity, and it felt lost. It felt like it wasn't there when they played the Pistons a month ago. So here we are back in Detroit. NBA Cup group on the line, the ability to advance the NBA Cup on the line. More than that, though, your identity on the line. Orlando's figured some things out. Their defense has looked better. I wouldn't say it's Magic levels of defense yet. But they had a lot to prove. It's easy and fun to win when the points are easy, when scoring is easy. But when you get to the playoffs, you're going to have to figure out how to beat good defenses. You're going to have your defense save your offense sometimes. And frankly, we don't know, or we couldn't know if this Magic team knew how to do that. Is that unfair? Is that going too far? Look, they're 13th in the league in defensive rating. Like, they've had some bad defensive games. This hasn't looked like the Magic. And so the Magic could not let Detroit push them around. They had to push first. They had to push back. And there was going to be a lot of moments in this game, even with how well the Magic played for a good chunk of that second half. There's always going to be moments where they were going to have to really, like, find their grit, find their determination, find out who they are. And so it happened in several stages, but after losing a 10-point lead, because the offense ground to a halt, and we'll get to that in a minute. But after losing a 10-point lead, Orlando did not blink. The Pistons crowd going crazy, this irrational confidence that you have when you've won 13 of 14 games. The Magic did not blink. They answered. Whether it was Jalen Suggs hitting those 2 shots in a game where he could not hit the broadside of a barn, whether it was Desmond Bane hitting this crazy, crazy scoop shot to put the Magic back in the lead and put the Magic in the lead for good with 2 minutes to go, whether it was Jalen Suggs again hitting like a tough kind of fading floater, whether it was on the final, whether it was after a bad shot and Cade Cunningham getting downhill and has only him and Franz Wagner between him and the basket, Desmond Bane coming back to knock the ball off of Cade Cunningham out of bounds to retain possession, to give the Magic the ball with 44 seconds left and a 1-point lead, a chance to get back into the lead. Whether it was Desmond Bane again, digging out 2 offensive rebounds as the Magic could not get a good shot, and Franz missed 2 threes. And then Wendell Carter digging out another rebound. 4 offensive rebounds on that final possession, taking the clock down from 44 seconds down to 6 for Jalen Suggs to put 2 free throws in to make it a 3-point game. Whether it was Anthony Black blocking a Duncan Robinson 3 after Cade Cunningham intentionally missed the second free throw off the front of the rim and it bounced directly back to him. Like, crazy, crazy, crazy skill there. However you wanted to find it, every time the Magic looked like they were going to blink, every time it looked like the Magic were about to crumble or about to get pushed, they pushed back. They fought back. They never lost composure. They may have lost execution, and again, we'll talk about that. But they never lost composure. They never lost will. And that's what was lacking when they were in Detroit a month ago. That's what's been lacking in so many of the team's losses this year. And that's what had to be rediscovered and rekindled. You may or may not care about the NBA Cup. Like, again, everyone has different mileage on this thing. I love it. I know a lot of people who love it. This team believes it means something. And it brought a playoff level of intensity and focus to this game. On both sides, I want to give the Pistons their credit too. It's a heck of a game. If we get 7 of these in the spring, everyone around the league is going to be hating it because it's a foul fest, or they're going to love it because these are 2 really competitive young teams. But the Magic found their fight. They found their identity. And now they're marrying this dynamic offense with a defense that's not gonna back down or give an inch. It is not coincidence that Orlando built a 10-point lead in the third quarter and the second half, because they were getting under Detroit's skin. Detroit, a physical team themselves, a team that does try to do a lot of the same things Orlando does. We're frustrated by the wall that Orlando built, by Wendell Carter challenging shots at the rim, by Franz reaching in and swiping the ball away, by Desmond Bane doing that twice to Cade Cunningham, knocking the ball out of bounds and getting reviews in his favor. The Pistons were not happy with how physical the Magic played and how much they pushed them around. But guess what? That's Orlando Magic basketball. That's what this team's going to do if they're successful. And we'll get into some of the details of this game and where the Magic need to keep improving and how the Magic won this game. I want to get into that. But ultimately, the reason the Magic are the number one seed in the NBA Cup, the reason the Magic are moving on, the reason the Magic are considered a Eastern Conference contender, one of the reasons why the Magic, outside of the Toronto Raptors, who are on like 8-9 game winning streak right now, the Magic are the hottest team in the East. The team nobody wants to face, the team nobody wants to deal with, is because you're going to be in a fight when you play them. And a lot of people aren't made up to be in fights. A lot of people, they get pushed, they get shoved, they get grabbed, they get held, they get knocked to the ground. And they look up and see a team that's unapologetic about it. A lot of those teams wilt. Again, the Pistons didn't. I'm not saying they backed down, but the Magic won this battle. And it was a big one to win. So let's talk then about how the Magic can continue to improve, how the Magic showed us they can still grind their way to a win, an important skill. We're going to get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at DoorDash. The NBA season is heating up. NBA Cup action is hitting the knockout rounds here in a couple weeks. The Magic will play the Miami Heat on December 9th or 10th. And DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching for the highlights, your fantasy team, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they are celebrating with something called the bag drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day. And you are automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff you will actually want. DoorDash has you covered for late-night highlights, last-minute watch parties, and double overtime fuel-ups. So next time someone goes off for 50, use promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass. Plus, your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only, 50% off up to $10 the day after 50-point game with promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDash in your bag for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. We want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. This was a classic Jamal Mosley Orlando Magic basketball game. Like, this wasn't the pretty, we're scoring 140 points. Magic's 120-point streak snapped. This isn't the, we're moving the ball, getting threes. Like, these were two grimy defensive teams dragging each other into the mud and enjoying every minute of it. And frankly, those are the games the Magic have really struggled in this year. Like, they lost the game to the Chicago Bulls, game 3. We'll see the Bulls on Monday. Huge game now. Every game's a huge game. It's a huge 4-game homestand coming up. Magic will get the Heat twice here on this 4-game homestand because we'll play the Heat on December 9th or 10th in the NBA Cup. Ticket information will be coming shortly, I'm sure. This was a classic game that, again, we haven't seen the Magic win very often. Like, we haven't seen the Magic win this kind of game super, super often. And to see the team do it this way is really encouraging. Because over the course of a season, and certainly in the playoffs, you got to win games like this. And again, I know it's the NBA Cup. I'm not here saying these are playoff level. These are playoff level teams, but neither of these teams are playing at the level they're going to play in the playoffs. We'll see Detroit twice at the Kia Center in March and April. Like, we will see this team later on in the season when both teams will be gearing up for the playoffs, when it will be a little clearer, like, what direction these two teams are headed and where they're going to end up in the standings. It's not clear yet for either team. Like, Detroit's got a nice little lead for first. Orlando is currently sitting in 6th or 7th, I believe, right now. slowly making their way up. And again, the Magic have some winnable. I think they have three very winnable games next week. Obviously, an NBA Cup game. They got their West Coast trip, and then really the fun for this team's going to start in December, like late Christmas. The schedule from Christmas to MLK Day and the Europe trip are pretty good, are pretty fun for this team. So we're going to see this team win some games. And again, right now, you beat Philadelphia by 40. You beat a really good Pistons team. You beat the Knicks twice. You're feeling pretty invincible. You're feeling pretty good about the Magic's chances against anybody. You went to overtime with the Rockets and probably should have won that game. Without several of your best players. So something to consider. But the Magic winning a game where they shoot 41.2% from the floor, 5 for 30 from 3, 5 for 30. It was the worst 3-point field goal percentage the Magic have had in a win since they shot 1 for 13 or 18 against the Denver Nuggets in December 2015. That 3 came early. That wasn't the game they were in danger of losing their streak. That was a few years earlier. But this was the worst 3-point shooting game since Elfrid Payton was a high-volume 3-point shooter for this team. Love you, EP. Didn't mean to throw shade. Orlando did it the way that they have to do it. By being super-duper physical. By forcing turnovers, 24 turnovers for 29 points. By getting to the offensive glass. Both teams at 14 offensive rebounds had their chances. Orlando got 14 second chance points. Detroit had 19. They did it by living in the paint, 62 points in the paint. The Magic didn't get all the things they usually get. The Magic only had 12 fast break points in this game. Again, they're one of the best fast break teams in the league. They only got 6 field goal attempts in transit on fast breaks. And again, only scored 12 points. This was a game where the Magic had to kind of figure out the solve. They needed to figure out what they need to do to win. And again, everything looks good when it's easy. And, you win by 41 against the Sixers, and the Sixers are injured, and they have a lot of depth issues. The Magic at full health are not a good matchup for Philadelphia when they're not anywhere near full health. The Clippers, like some of these teams the Magic have played, like they're fatal flaws that the Magic have taken advantage of and have delivered in big ways. But it's easy when the shots go down. And the shots have been going down. Like, again, Orlando's not a heavy 3-point shooting team, but it's easy when the shots go down. Finding a way to win, finding a way to grind out a victory against a good defense, against a good team like Detroit. That's what this is all about. Like, that's what a championship level team does. Like, if the man, I entered this game and I appreciate Koo for coming on the show yesterday, and I hope you enjoyed that preview of the game, and thought that's still going to be viable, and a lot of that's still going to be relevant when we face Detroit later in the season. Like I almost put up our episode from August. I really thought that this game was just going to come down to who made shots. Like Detroit struggled to shoot too, but they started making their shots. They were 11 for 28 from 3. Cade Cunningham had 4 threes. Duncan Robinson was 3 for 11. So even their best 3-point shooter didn't make a lot of shots, but they made shots. 7 of their 11 threes came from Duncan Robinson or Cade Cunningham. 18 of their 28 attempts came from those two. Like they were making threes. Cade was making threes. They couldn't duck under screens, and Orlando was definitely a little hands off with him. That should have been a formula for Detroit to win because there was not a lot separating these two teams. Not even free throws. Both teams got to the line a ton. This game ultimately came down to Orlando made timely shots. Jalen Suggs hit 2 long jumpers. One was a 3, one was a toe on the line 2. That re-extended the lead out to 5 after the Magic re-extended the lead out to 10 after the Magic had gone down by 5, or had gone up by 5. Franz Wagner hit some timely layups and got to the basket for some tough shots. Desmond Bane constantly driving downhill. Like Desmond Bane missed all 5 of his 3-pointers. Had his best game in a Magic uniform. Best scoring game in a Magic uniform with 37. He was unrelenting getting to the basket and just found a way to get the defense just enough off balance to get downhill. Jalen Suggs was 2 for 11 from 3 in the game. 4 for 17 overall. So 2 for 6 overall and inside the paint. Missed his first 6 threes. Then he hit those 2 big shots, and then he hit the little fader on Cade. Because Cade had to press up on him because he made those 2 shots. The Magic's ability to stick with things. The Magic's ability to just continue to push, continue to attack, continue to be a factor, even when nothing was working. That's what they have to be. That's what they have to do. Again, like, this is what championship level teams do. They just find a way. You can't look at a box score and see clearly, oh, this is why they won. Cade and Desmond Bane canceled each other out. Cade at 39, Des at 37. Desmond actually broke even plus minus. Cade was plus 16. The Pistons, when Cade was out, were a disaster. Orlando was down 13 in the first quarter, did not look good. Everyone, like Des said, we did not come into this game the right way. They willed themselves back into the game when Cade was out and got within 2 by the end of the first quarter. Like, that saved the game. That stretch, that bench group, Anthony Black, Jonathan Isaac, Tyus Jones, Goga Bitadze, Desmond Bane, that was their best lineup all night. Anthony Black was plus 27. Jonathan Isaac in 13:36 was plus 26. Everybody's favorite punching bag, Tyus Jones, who, yes, was probably in a little too long in that fourth quarter, in 18:27 was plus 13. I thought he did a good job settling the team down. There's nothing on this box score that would say, oh, the Magic were so clearly the better team. They just made all the plays, all the little plays they had to take this game. And sometimes that is what it takes. Let's run through the final box score then and explain why the Magic really missed Paolo Banchero in this one. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Obviously, we are just getting ready for the NBA Cup, quarterfinals. So those lines are not out yet. But boy, have the Magic started to get some respect and regain some respect. Currently plus 2,500 to win the NBA Finals. Their odds are actually better than the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons are at plus 2,700. That might actually be a value bet too, if you're looking to bet on futures. You're looking for college football games next week. Or on Saturday, excuse me. The big ones in Florida here. We got, of course, if I could find it. We've got Florida State, the big rivalry. Gators are 1.5 point favorites at home to keep the Seminoles from going to a bowl game. No matter who you want, and just for fun, I'm going to look at Northwestern as 7.5 point dogs. Never bet on Northwestern games. No matter who you want, right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. This was a game that Frank, we're going to go through the box score here, but this was a game that screamed to me how much the Magic missed Paolo Banchero. And look, they're good enough to win these games, but boy, was it shaky. Orlando was up 190. Looked like they were getting ready to run away with this game. I was already starting to write my article. And then the Magic offense just like hit a wall. Just rammed against a wall. And all the things they were doing that helped them build the lead and helped them control most of the second half, they stopped doing all of those things. Like they really struggled to do all those things. The offense ground to a halt. It became pick and roll based instead of cutting based, instead of movement based, instead of passing based. And again, some of that's on the Pistons. Pistons are a really good defensive team. They locked in a little bit more. But Orlando kind of went away from all the things that were working to try and kind of kill the clock. It was a little bit of a prevent defense. And again, for how good Desmond Bane is. And Desmond Bane was very good. Was able to get downhill, scored a lot in the paint. 13 for, let me pull up my stat sheet here. Actually, he was 13 for 25 from the floor. Again, 0 for 5 from 3. 11 for 12 from the foul line. He was parading to the line, putting a lot of pressure. Was hitting little floaters and runners, was hitting his little scoop layup a lot. I think it was blocked once. Had 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks. Like, Bane was everywhere in this game. And the Magic don't win this game if Desmond Bane does not have this crazy good performance. Franz Wagner really struggled. 21 points, 8 for 19 shooting, 5 for 6 from the foul line. Really upset with the officiating in this game. 7 rebounds, 3 steals. Magic did good with turnovers. They had 7 of their 14 turnovers in the first quarter. So once they settled down with the turnovers, they were able to at least get a shot, which is good. Like, that's fine. But the offense just really bogged down. Franz was really effective when he was able to catch the ball on the run heading downhill. Same with Dez. They did a lot of split actions where Franz was like cutting back door to the basket. And so when the Magic's offense just slowed to a crawl and they were running kind of this pick and roll heavy stuff, that's when Detroit was able to kind of switch and blitz and get the ball out of key guys' hands and force it to, like Anthony Black, who's taking some bad shots. That's when they really kind of got the Magic to slow down and bog down, and their offense lost its pace and lost its rhythm. And so, to me, this is where the Magic miss Paolo. Because right now, like, the only guys the Magic really trust to break anybody down off the dribble are Franz and Dez. And they got to work overtime to get them the ball. Toward the end of the game, like the last few possessions, and again, they weren't good possessions, but last few possessions, the Magic were trying to force a switch. They understood Detroit was switching, so they're trying to force Duncan Robinson onto Franz so that Franz could have an easier guy to attack than Asar Thompson. They bring Suggs up to screen and try and get or AB up to screen and try and get Duncan Robinson on him. That's not good offense for this team. It's just not good offense. They're not going to be very successful running their offense like that. And so that was one of the big mistakes in this game. But again, like, I don't think it's necessarily good offense with Paolo, but Paolo is more capable of getting that switch or not getting that switch, keeping his dribble alive, and then just saying, like, you know what, forget the screen, just go away. I'm going to take this guy off the dribble. Like, the Magic just don't have a lot of those guys. And, like, you could work and game plan around it, and the Magic have super talented players, and they're really good in transition to get around that. But in a game like this, and again, this is why I think Paolo is so good in the playoffs. In a game like this, that's where Paolo really thrives. And so I know there's been all this, like, hand-wringing, all this national debate, and I agree with some of the criticism. Like, Paolo has to make sure the ball's moving. The way the Magic ran their offense in the first half, where Franz was curling around screens and then catching the ball and catching it on the move and attacking immediately. Like, do all that stuff with Paolo. Like, I'm a big fan of getting the ball to Paolo in motion and letting him attack immediately. Like, he's a big target. Once he's moving, you ain't stopping him. And so I think the Magic need to do more of that stuff. And that's, again, one of the reasons why I think the Magic will be fine offensively when Paolo's back. But the dimension that Paolo gives is, while you don't want too many of these standstill read possessions, when Paolo is the best player on the team at doing that. And so when you get into these late game situations, or you get to, like, oh, everything kind of blew up on us, we got 10 seconds left on the clock, you dump it to Paolo. Paolo's going to create something positive. He's going to take a bad contested mid-range shot, but that's when you want to take them, late in the shot clock. And so Paolo could be a little bit of your grenade guy. That's where the Magic really miss Paolo. And I think that's one of the reasons they lost to Houston. It's one of the reasons they almost lost tonight. Like, they needed Paolo. They needed another guy. And, you know, again, as good as Franz is, I still don't think Franz is comfortable being the number one guy. Like, I think he prefers to be Scotty, and he needs a Michael. Again, like, Franz is very capable. I'm not saying he can't do that, but I think he's more comfortable there. And so, look, Dez did his thing. This was Dez's best offensive game for the Magic, 37 points, Um, 13 for 25 shooting, over 5 for 3, 11 for 12, 8 rebounds. Excuse me, 11 for 12 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds. Franz Wagner, 21, 8 for 19, over 3, 5 over 3 for 3, 5 for 6 from the foul line. 2 of those 3 misses on that last offensive possession that ended with the Suggs free throws. 7 rebounds, did a lot of really good things. 3 steals, like really, really active on defense. And, did his best on Cade. Jalen Suggs ended up with 14 points, 4 for 7 shooting, 2 for 11. Like a lot of guys just off. Anthony Black off the bench at 16 on 6 for 17 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3, 3 for 6 from the foul line. So again, like a lot of little things. Orlando ended with 15 steals. They forced 24 turnovers for 29 points. Tristan Da Silva, a quiet 8. Wendell Carter, a louder 8, 8 points, 11 rebounds. Love the way that he played. He was great defensively on Jalen Duren, switched on to Cade Cunningham. They made Cade work. Cade, I still think, got to his spots a little too easily, but they made Cade work. And Cade ended up with 39, 13, 11. Like, Cade Cunningham is a really, really good basketball player. But he also had 8 turnovers. The Magic really frustrated him. So they got their licks. They got their fight in him. Jonathan Isaac played some really strong minutes, 4 points, a block, 2 for 3 shooting, both all inside the perimeter, all putbacks. And even Tyus Jones, again, didn't score, but I thought played really, really well. The Magic defense was the story. 44% shooting, 39.3% from 3 for the Pistons. They did get 14 offensive rebounds, but 24 turnovers. That was the game. Orlando created extra opportunities. Orlando took 13 more shots than the Pistons. 13 more opportunities to score. They only scored 3 more field goals. It was a bad shooting night. But those extra opportunities gave the Magic life and allowed them to find their rhythm and find themselves. It was a great game. Could have gone either way. Play this game a million times, they're probably going to split it evenly. That's how close the Magic are to the Pistons. And this was a really, really gritty, gutsy effort. And that's something the Magic need right now. The Orlando Magic defeat the Detroit Pistons 112-109. They are moving on in the NBA Cup. They win Group B. They are the top seed in the Eastern Conference. They will play the Miami Heat on December 9th or 10th. That date will probably be coming out here in the next few hours as I'm recording this. But the Magic are moving on. They'll play the Heat. They're back in action on Monday, though, at the Kia Center for which starts a 4-game homestand. Now with the NBA Cup game. A 4-game homestand against the Chicago Bulls. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the fun places to download podcasts to your podcast-enabled device. You can find us on YouTube as well. Just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out our Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Now that you're done making Locked On Magic your first listen of the day, go make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Josh Lloyd hosts the #1 fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and helping you win your league, all while making you a smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, all part of Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll be back again Sunday or Monday, one of those 2 days. We'll be back after the weekend to get you ready for the next week of Orlando Magic basketball and so much more. We'll see you all then. Until then, have a great rest of your holiday weekend. The Magic win 112-109 to advance in the NBA Cup, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.